Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
Oh, I'm back. I am back from Colorado. And I missed you guys. I missed you guys a lot. I just, let me get everything straight here today. That looks better. I missed you guys a lot. And a few things happened. Not too much. Nothing major while I was away. Not like Tom Brady signed with the Bucs the last time I was out in Colorado. No, it was fun. But man, we had a great trip out there. Amazing how it renews your body, your soul, your mind. It just, it's not something about the mountains and the outdoors and the white snow and the beauty of Colorado that just does something to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. People have studied this and talk about how nature can calm you. Man, but does it ever? It really was. Really, but excited to be back. I miss you guys. Miss talking about Tampa Bay sports. And we got a great show coming your way today. Dave Randorf's going to join us at 11 o'clock to talk about what the hell's going on with the Lightning. I took time out to watch those games. Probably shouldn't. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm not in panic mode. The injuries obviously have caught up with them a little bit. We hope they get healthy for the playoffs, which are coming up next week. But we'll talk to Dave Randorf at 11 o'clock. We got tons to talk about with the Rays, the Buccaneers. The Masters yesterday was really, really interesting. Lots of storylines there to get to. Hendon Hooker, a lot of people look to see what's going on with him. We've been talking about it since January, but is he going to be a Buccaneer? That's an interesting story. The NBA is an absolute disaster right now. What's going on there? We even have some is it XFL with Anthony Beck to talk about. So much to get to today. We appreciate you guys. If you want to chime in, you can always go to YouTube, to the JP Peterson Show. Please subscribe right there, and you can comment on Facebook and also comment on our Twitter, and we'll get you guys on. Good morning to you, Nick Geddes. Great job, by the way, last week.
Thank you.
And all your guests that you had on. You guys did a fantastic job. I peeked in every now and then, and you made me feel like I could definitely take some Fridays off.
I think we did okay.
You did a great,
I think we did okay, but I'm still glad that you're back because you are the creator of this show. We need you here.
Thank you.
By the way, you also took a little bit out of your time, at least 2 hours combined, during your vacation.
Yeah, of course.
To come on this show.
I want to check in with you guys.
That's what I put you over. I said, look at that. You're on vacation. You still were offering to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I kept you away.
I'm a hard worker, I think, for the most part. I do a lot of stuff that probably wastes more time than when I think I'm working. But I had a full confidence that you would be able to handle it. And I don't know if you were confident as much as I was confident in you, but you learned, hey, I can handle this
Yeah,
stuff.
I felt I grew into it as the week. I had great people interacting with the show, which helped along. Sean helping, Jason Powers. So it went good, but we're glad you're back. And let's not bury the lead here of what really went on this weekend.
Wow. I was even watching Bally Sports on my phone, watching the Rays in the restaurants, putting it up there while we were eating, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, I thought, I thought this team would be an 85-win, 86-win team just like last year because the offense, why would we expect it to be so much different than last year? Well, I was wrong about that. 9-0. I mean, this start is historic on so many levels. Let's just get the numbers out of the way. Biggest run differential in a 9-0 start since the 1884 St. Louis Maroons and the what was it?
I got the full
New York Gothams.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got the full list. The Maroons.
Yeah.
The New York Gothams.
Yes.
And how about 1882?
That man was their lead starter, I believe.
Really? Can you tell me who played on the Providence Grays in 1882?
Providence had a major league team? I did not know that.
Yeah, I think they were saying this morning on MLB Network that Babe Ruth, I don't even think was alive during all this time.
No.
The Providence Grays, and how about 1876, the Hartford Dark Blues?
The Hartford Dark Blues.
And then your Tampa Bay Rays are sitting right in the middle of those four teams.
It's insane. And that's all those teams have absolutely no consequence to real baseball that goes on today.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have to go back that far to find fake numbers of guys that were blacksmiths playing baseball to compare to what's going on. I mean, a run differential in the first 9 games of 6+. That's insane. And if you want to talk about the competition, go ahead and talk about the competition. They're blasting major league teams. Yep. It's not even close. This run differential is not even close to some of the best starts these undefeated starts that have happened. I mean, it's ridiculous how good this baseball team is. And if you're saying, well, it's a hot streak, well, think about this. You only have to go .500 the rest of the way to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
As of last year, you would have 86 wins. It just if you went .500 the rest of the way.
And this team could do that in their sleep.
In their sleep. I mean, it's not even close. And there's a chance that they could get better. I mean, one of the best pitchers in baseball is on the shelf right now in Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, and your ace, the ace of the staff, which is full of aces, by the way, hasn't even been near his best through 2 starts.
No.
And your bullpen has barely even worked.
Drew Rasmussen's numbers, 13 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts, 3 hits, and the most ridiculous stat of all, 1 3-ball count.
Yeah, 0 walks.
0 walks. I mean, these guys are strike throwing. I mean, all of them are just like, you know what? We're just going to challenge. And okay, against these lesser teams, it's easier to do that. I get that. But the fact that they're just in that strike throwing mode, and I think the new rules have favored the Rays as we thought they would. They're taking advantage of them in many ways. Just no shifting has helped the Brandon Lau go from his hard hit ball rate is even down 11 points, and his batting average is 22 points higher. It just because of the lack of a shift. It's going to. We said that they would figure it out, and they haven't really, I think, started to really get the stolen base going because the guys are hitting so much they don't have to manufacture runs. And then we've always talked about this, and I think it's evident when you watch yesterday and watch Harold Ramirez, bump it down the line to beat out an infield hit and then beat a ball to second by taking advantage of them not holding him on. That's just smart baseball, and they're doing this with 6-run leads. It's not like they're just not paying attention. These guys are focused and are playing with an edge, and that's always been the Rays' secret sauce, I think, is you don't have guys with guaranteed contracts.
Yeah.
You just don't. And I think that makes a tremendous difference in baseball. All these guys are still chasing that big contract. When you have when you have half of your team on a 5-year deal,
look at the Mets.
120, guys don't have that sense of urgency, especially early in the season. They're thinking more about don't get hurt, just go out there and play, just play baseball, don't do anything spectacular. Yeah. I'm going to make my money, stay healthy. That's all they really care about.
And to the point about the new rules as well, I'm seeing it more and more across baseball. I mean, guys are getting thrown out of the game and thrown out of games, like Manny Machado, for example, best player in San Diego, getting thrown out of games because they're arguing with these new rules.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one player on this team, pitcher, batter, coach, anybody's making a big deal out of these rules. No. They're just taking whatever's in front of him and they're going right through it right now. Mm-hmm. And it can't be overstated. We went through the numbers there. What they're doing right now is historically the best we've ever seen in Major League Baseball. So don't give me the competition argument, because if you played the A's 10 times, you'd expect the A's to get a game. You expect them to get 2
or 3,
maybe 3 at most.
That's baseball.
Same thing with the Tigers and the Nationals. And if you were winning these games 4-3, 2-1, okay, we would probably have a different discussion. But the fact, what was it, 31-3? They outscored them in this series.
Yeah,
31-3. With a plus 60-something run differential through 9 games.
It's insane.
25 home runs. You know how long it took them to get to that many home runs last year?
A month and a half.
It took them almost 30 games to get to that last year, and they've done it in 9. They passed the 1932 Yankees with Ruth and Garrett and all those guys for most home runs through 9 games. That's what's
unexplainable. To me, that's the one thing that's most unexplainable. Is how is this lineup that couldn't hit home runs last year, same lineup, hitting home runs at this level?
Well, it wasn't for majority of the time last year. It wasn't the same lineup. Also, this was interesting, and I heard this today on OB Network Radio when I was driving in. The Rays had the most players of any team participate in the World Baseball Classic, 17 guys. So you think about it, they had more guys than anybody around the league that were able to get their timing set up, play meaningful baseball right away, and they've carried that in. And also, when they were in spring, with whatever roster they put out there, if you recall, the Rays, I think, were first in the American League in home runs during the spring.
Yeah.
So they were doing this during the spring. Oh, and by the way, 2 years ago, with a lot of the same cast, when they were healthy, they were right behind the Astros in home runs in the season.
Right.
So is it really we're not expecting them to do this, obviously, but
they're turning to the mean.
They've showed before they can do this when they're healthy.
So last year, you look at last year and go, man, everything went against them from an offensive standpoint, and they still made the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, this team, like obviously they're not going to keep up this level, but and it's interesting tonight they got the Red Sox coming in for 4 games. And not the Red Sox are world beaters anymore. That's an interesting story in and of itself. And how about Boston writer ripping the Rays, which was interesting because their attendance hasn't been what it used to be. It seems like the Red Sox nation is kind of turning on Chaim Bloom.
They don't even
trying to run the team like the Rays.
They don't even come to the Rays games anymore.
Yeah, they don't.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like if you're looking for like this great attendance for this 4-game series, don't count on the Boston fans to get it done. They don't even come to the games anymore when they're in Tampa.
Yeah, and the prices are what'd you say? The cheapest ticket today is $34 plus fees.
They did, but all the $10 tickets already got taken up.
Yeah.
So count that into it.
Yeah. Now you if you miss that, you got to spend $35, $40. That's probably worth it with the team playing.
With the team playing right now, it's well worth it.
Yeah, but can you still buy the ballpark pass?
You could still buy the ballpark pass, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those they've sold, and how many they're going to sell.
I'm sure we could probably get the breakdown on that.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to know because if you're available to go to games in St. Petersburg, I mean, are you kidding me? $50 a month? That's like dinner out at a median restaurant. That's not even a nice dinner out. That's like McDonald's for 4 these days. Seriously, it's crazy how good this team is, but what a bargain they are. And I was talking with a fan on Twitter, and he's talking about the new design of the ballpark has made people go to the ballpark. I'm like, well, first of all, they've not settled on a design in St. Petersburg. They've not settled on financing for anything in St. Petersburg for a stadium, and they're still talking to Hillsborough County. So I don't think that's the big reason. If people are fooled into thinking that deal is done, whatever, and they're buying tickets, I don't think it's that. I think it's a great team. I think, first of all, you've had 2 weekend series, so let's not go crazy about the attendance. The attendance on the weekends has never been a huge problem for this team.
But I will say, though, getting what they got, though, against the A's on Friday and Saturday night, I've seen series where they've had like 6,000 to 8,000 against that team.
I think also just the fact that they've come out with these things, there's a better feeling about that the team is now working with, like, they care about the fans more. It's just not, hey, here's your $70 ticket for the outfield for the Yankees. Either buy it or don't show up. I don't care. Yeah. Stu Sternberg, I don't care. If it's all Yankee fans, I don't care. Just give me my money, which is what we saw last year. And I think this year, just even if they're limiting the number of $10 tickets, they're making an attempt.
Yes, they're targeting Rays fans.
Right, and it's funny because somebody else brought this up last week on Twitter. Is MLB running this franchise like they did for M? If you remember when Namoli was having all his issues, they brought in Hughes or somebody to run the team, and there was this famous Hawaiian shirt press conference that Vince Namoli had where he got up and read his own quote from the press. He literally read his own quote from the press conference, from the press release at his press conference. It's like, dude, you can say it here by yourself. You don't have to read your quote. They probably said, stick to the script. Just say this and don't say anything else. And so they brought in a new person to run the team. And then a year and a half later, Sternberg was the new owner in his group. So maybe it's a dramatic difference. It's a dramatic difference this year, the way they've reached out to the fans and what have you. So
I think it's honestly my theory on that whole thing is that they've settled on the fact, okay, we can't get out of this market. Now we know we're not leaving this market. So when you're kind of backed into that corner, it's like, okay, let's embrace this market. Like, there's no more shenanigans to be done.
What a concept.
Yeah, you could argue they should have been doing this stuff years ago.
Of course.
But the fact that they're doing it now, I mean, like I said, we were there on opening day. You can say it felt different. There was a different buzz. I mean, I've already seen people in the comments here talking about they went to the games this weekend. I mean, I spoke to so many people while I was out and about this weekend that said they've already gone to a game.
Yeah.
They were excited to go to this weekend. They want to go back. Like, I just haven't heard this stuff before.
No. And they need to build on this momentum that they have here. And I don't know exactly how what they've done has been fantastic. There's obviously more they can do for marketing the team. I don't know exactly what that is, but we've talked about the Mexican connection with Isaac Paredes
and Randy.
Is there something they could do there to attract the Mexican nationals to
this?
Because we have a lot of them living here.
Well, I can tell you right now, and you saw this, and everybody has said, I think somebody said it in the comments here, Randy has basically, maybe upon himself, has made himself a must-come-see type of player.
Yeah.
They love him at the Tribe. Every time he does something, you can hear it on the TV.
Yeah.
There's a loud Randy chant. He interacts with the left field crowd. He's embracing the whole stare and the cross of the arms. He's doing the bowls, but we love it, though.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's almost taken on that, honestly, for the Rays.
Yeah. Randy's Rowdies. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
With a Rowdies connection. There's a lot more things they can do, and I hope the things that go viral and organic maybe are by the fans are brought into it. And what a perfect time to settle this stadium issue and get it done and start working with.
There's a lot of good mojo right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of good mojo going on right now, and get this thing done. Obviously, we'd love it in Tampa because it's better for the market. And St. Petersburg can do much better in that particular place for their constituents. So hopefully they get it done right. The only thing that can stop this team's momentum right now is doing a bad deal, in my opinion, in St. Petersburg. You get a good deal done in Tampa with a little bit more vision of the future. Man, I think it would take off. I think it would absolutely take off.
Probably, but I mean, honestly though, because of the start, I'm so locked in on this team right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm rushing. I mean, I don't know how many innings. I feel like I've maybe missed a few innings here or there.
Yeah.
And I think some of them are honestly I get up to go do something when the Rays are pitching, and I come back, and because they're so good, like Rasmussen yesterday, I come back and I'm like, oh, the inning's over.
Yeah.
Because they're moving so. I mean, I feel like those are the only times I miss the innings.
Yeah, and I think it's affecting the other team because when you're watching the games and you see like Rasmussen yesterday, it's just it's relentless. He just and the batters can't step out. They can't stop it. They can't call timeout.
No,
it's almost like a run in basketball where another coach can't call a timeout, and there's nothing nothing they can't artificially stop the game, which I think is good for the game. I think it's good for the game. You know what? If you can't hit, you can't hit. But I think it helps the Rays strike throwing. They're pounding the zone. You can't step out. It's just like momentum. It's like we're just going to mow your ass down, and you can't stop it. We're going to get on, and we're throwing strike after strike after strike with good stuff, and there's nothing you can do about it. I think the Rays have embraced that, and I love what you said about that. Other teams that are bitching and moaning about it, and who are the guys that are mostly bitching and moaning? Stars. Guys that have long-term guaranteed contracts. That don't. There's something about it that just makes them play a more selfish type of game, and it's about me, and I want to step out of the box. It's not about the team, And the Rays are like, look, these are the rules. Let's take advantage of them. Let's embrace them. Let's don't fight them. Let's embrace them.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great attitude because you got to play by the rules anyway. These are the new rules. You can either bitch and moan about it and get all that negative energy going, or say, hey, how are we going to use this to our advantage? And the Rays have more. Let's just say it, softer, more controlled minds because they're not these – softer might be the bad word, but more open-minded because they're not set in their ways, long-term contracts. I'm a superstar. This is the way – I'm going to play the game the way I want to play it. They're like, okay, they're just more amenable to all of these type of things, whether it's, not throwing a lot of innings, not getting a set lineup every day, not having, all these things that maybe traditional baseball teams, bigger franchises don't do, or the Rays embrace all of this new stuff, and it's easier to do with younger players that aren't set in their ways and aren't superstars.
Yeah, and players who they have a collection of guys who are still trying to prove themselves across the league, and I think Harold Ramirez is a great example of that, who yesterday, take Rasmussen out of it, I thought he was the player of the game.
Yep.
They don't get the Brandon Lau grand slam without Harold Ramirez, running one out at first base, and then running hard to second base, even though the shortstop for Oakland, I'm not sure what that throw was. I mean, that was – I don't know what the word I want to use for that one, but I know the word I want to use, but I won't say it.
It's crap.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah.
But he takes advantage of it, and that's where the Rays are right now. They've become the team where you can't give them life.
Right.
You cannot give this team life because they're making you pay. The approach at the plate right now is the best that I think I've ever seen in this franchise across the league. They're leading the league in strikeouts, not striking out,
not striking out.
And not striking
Fewest
out.
strikeouts, yeah.
Fewest strikeouts, that's right. They have the fewest strikeouts in the game, so they're working the counts. They're waiting for you to make that mistake.
More selective.
They're more selective. They're forcing you to throw into the zone, and I think that's why they're really hitting a lot of home runs is because they're forcing these pitchers, and let's face it, these aren't the greatest guys in the league also, who aren't probably adapt, I guess, to probably work a count with you. And they make a mistake, and the Rays are making them pay right now, and it's across the entire lineup. They got 11 guys with a home run so far. 11 guys with a home run.
Yeah.
I mean, you have 13 position players, and 11 of them hit a home run?
Yeah.
It's all over the place
That's
right
great.
now.
It's fantastic.
And Harold Ramirez, you saw the stat I put?
Yeah.
He's got 3 home runs already. He had 6 last year and 450 at-bats or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we were talking about he doesn't have enough power to remain on this team long term, and he's like, oh, really? Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, they won't need to make any additions at the
That's
at
what I'm
the
saying.
deadline.
It's like I don't know what they need to do at the deadline at the moment.
But I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment either. And the competition has not been great. But the way they're winning, how they're winning, the differential, all of that, I think definitely outweighs what the competition is because they're crushing the competition. It's like a major league team playing AA teams.
Yeah, and these teams that they've played, by the way, have beaten the Astros, they've beaten the Angels, they've beaten the Braves. Okay, those are 3 quality teams around baseball that the teams they've played have beaten. The Red Sox got swept by the Pirates.
Yeah.
The Red Sox got swept by the Pirates.
Yeah.
Like, teams are losing all. The Astros are 4-6. Like, it's hard to do
baseball.
It's hard to beat any
baseball.
team like this,
Right.
9-0, let alone what they're doing by the amount that they're winning by.
Any team can beat any team, and even the worst teams in baseball are going to win 60, 70 games a year.
Yes.
So it's major leagues, and well, maybe not Oakland, but most of these teams are major league teams, and even the A's are. Let's just be honest about it. But this is spectacular on so many levels. And yesterday, we talked about Rasmussen. Let's hear a couple of the calls, shall we? First, we haven't talked about the Wander home run. This one was. Listen to the sound that this makes, and when this pitcher lets it go, he's got, I think it was about a 93-mile-an-hour fastball on the inner half and down. And Wander, just batting from the left side, just absolutely crushes this ball.
And that's a shot. Well tagged, and that baby's gone. 3-2 pitch lined out to right field. 4th home run for Franco.
4 home runs already for Franco. And that pitch, I mean, he's got to feel like, worst case scenario is, he's going to hit a line drive to right field.
Yeah.
And he gets it out of the park with about 107 velocity, 110 velocity. It was phenomenal.
And what do we say throughout the offseason of who is Wander Franco going to be?
Yeah.
And we said if he's going to live up to the hype, he needs to be a guy that can hit 30 home runs.
Yep.
And he's never going to be the big launch angle guy. And neither is Yandy, but those guys
I don't want him to be.
Those guys are hitting home runs right now, but they're hitting other than the bomb that he hit on Friday night, by the way, that he completely pimped. He's just hitting line drives that are just going out. I mean, this guy is an elite hitter. He's appointment television as far as I'm concerned when it comes to the Rays. Not only is he going to the All-Star game this year, if he stays healthy, he's going to be in the MVP conversation. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that he was DHing yesterday?
Yeah, and 2 games in a row, they've had the luxury to yank him in the 7th inning because they're winning by so much, so you can get him off his feet. Now you throw Brujan in there, who's up because Siri goes on the IL, so now you can see a little bit of Brujan as well. I mean, they right now they have it as perfect as you can get it. Yeah,
and they've got versatility and they've got some depth too. I mean, when Siri goes out, you put Manuel Margot in center field.
Nobody panics.
No, he's fine. He's a good and he's a plus outfielder, and so is Josh Lowe. I mean, he's a guy who can play center field too. So you've got some depth here. You've got depth in your pitching. There is one problem though, that they're last in the league. Saves.
Oh.
They don't have a single save. I mean, what's wrong with the bullpen?
God, this bullpen, man. Letting them down early on.
You can't get a save when you're up 4 runs.
How many times has Fairbanks faced, 3 batters this season? 4 batters?
I
At some
guess.
point, you got to get worried about this guy getting some freaking work out there.
I mean, but keep them rested, man. And at the end of the year, we've seen this many times with the Rays. Their bullpen gets worn out.
Yeah, or even yesterday when Rasmussen.
The more they can do this,
even Rasmussen
better.
Yesterday, he's rolling through 7. He only had 83 pitches.
Yeah, he could have gone 9.
He could have gone 9, but save these innings for October.
Absolutely, because they do. They pile up, and you want to be able to have these guys rested. So, yeah, when they finally are in a tight game, will their bullpen be as sharp as it needs to be? Probably not. You know what? That's okay. They might lose a game because of it, but I'll trade a 9-0 start and resting your bullpen for losing a game or 2 because they're not sharp. Or maybe they'll come in and be fresh and just blow people away.
To be fair, there's only one game this year that they've had to use the bullpen earlier than they wanted to, and that was the Josh Fleming outing. And if I recall, they went through they went through 5 innings of shutout baseball. The bullpen did, if I recall.
Yeah,
and that was the only close game they had.
6.
It was 5. They were down 5-4, I believe. Yeah. They got down 5-4. Fleming went 5 innings, and then they had the bullpen go the rest of the way and didn't give up a single run.
Yeah, they ended up winning it by 4 runs anyway.
Yep.
Well, how about and this is the sequence that really put the game out of reach when Harold Ramirez beat out the throw to first, then beat the throw to second, and then with 2 outs, Brandon Lau came up, and his reaction to this one I thought was funny. I thought he hit a foul ball.
Lost the ace twice.
Brandon Lau, he lets a fly ball deep into left. Cable will go to the track. That baby's gone.
Fooled the
Grand
lanes.
slam, home run.
And he started slow, but now suddenly his last 9 at-bats, he's got, he's crushing the ball.
Well, he was actually one of the more advanced metrics. He was actually one of the more unluckier hitters through the first week of the season around the league. And it was more about guys kind of not pitching to him, really. And Francisco, all the guys who weren't hitting to start the season, Francisco, Harold, and Brandon Lau, were all on, like, the unlucky list. Within the top 20 of unluckiest hitters.
Which is crazy.
So the ones who weren't hitting were just unlucky. And then this weekend, they all kind of break out a little bit when they get better pitch. Because eventually, you got to pitch to these guys.
Right, yeah. So the numbers are just stupid right now. Even Harold Ramirez, as you mentioned, with 3 home runs, had another dong yesterday. And this one, of course, courtesy of Bally Sports Sun as well.
That's a
nice
shot
to it.
Deep into left center. Well tagged and gone.
And maybe, just maybe, we've talked about the ball being juiced again. Jason Romano mentioned this.
They are juiced.
But, in a way, that plays into the Rays as well because they don't have, like, bombers, right? But they have guys that make contact. So if you make contact, and get a little bit of lift to it, and the ball's juiced, you're going to get more home runs.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're hitting more home runs. It's just contact and a juice ball. Because you got, like when Stanton hit one or Judge hits one, and Judge had two yesterday. When those guys hit them, they're going to go out any ballpark, and even if they miss it, they're going to get it out in right field. So with the Rays, they don't have big boppers, but they have consistent guys. Like you said, Yandy probably – maybe a couple of those home runs aren't home runs last year because of the juice ball. Maybe, some of these others aren't. But the more contact you make, more home runs you're going to get.
And they're just jumping on every pitch right now, too. I mean, the 2 home runs that Margot hit, which were bombs, I mean, you kind of see it in his swing. Like, he's jumping out in front of it and is ready to rip it. So that's the difference to me with the Rays so far as well.
All right, let's listen to Kevin Cash, who's got the easiest job in the world right now, just watching these guys play baseball. And whoever's making the lineup, who cares? It's doing pretty well.
Just 7 shutout innings from Drew, more spectacular offense. Their ability to just be consistent, both offensively and on the mound.
Yeah, everything's clicking. I mean, Ras set the tone. That's 2 back-to-back good starts. Super efficient, really good stuff. Got his strikeouts in. Strike throwing is elite as always, and the offense certainly did their part. Once the game got separated, huge credit to Harold Ramirez, effort getting down the first baseline, and then heads-up play by him and Chris Prieto of getting off first base to where he could be safe for the potential force, and then get Brandon to the plate.
I was going to say Brandon Lau wouldn't have been in that position without Harold's hustle, just that entire sequence of events, and Brandon hitting it out of the park. Yeah,
I mean, happy for Brandon. He hasn't hit a ball like that opposite way in quite some time, so really encouraged by that. Just shows that he's in a good spot, and happy just that the base running choice and decision really impacted that situation because we've worked so hard, and Chris Prieto has kind of tried to continue to instill making smart decisions on the bases and how it can help us.
Prieto see something there in particular? I saw it looked like Harold was giving him a lot of credit for that sequence.
It was just that he was telling him to get off the bag. The first baseman was way off the bag, so you can basically go as far as the first baseman allows you.
Gotcha. And Ras, I think he said 1 3-ball count in 2 starts. I mean, there's elite command, but what do you call that?
Good. I didn't know that. You think about how quick his innings are, and just his pitch efficiency is just outstanding right now. He's on a good run, just like some of the other guys.
It took a little while, but what do you see from Brandon's swing that he's getting power now? 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's pull side power he has. he's really got to be connected and staying on the ball to hit the ball like he did today to the left field. So I would just say, timed up and staying connected with his swing. I know that in batting practice, even in spring training, we saw more balls that he was really driving the other way. So that was a good sign. Now he's taking it into the game.
Harold thought he could find a little more power in his bat this year. He's got 3 home runs.
He found it.
4 games. How did he find it?
I don't know how these guys, some of them do it. I know that there's intent, and it's kind of become a home run game a little bit. Harold's a really good hitter. I think that he has so much confidence in his swing that if he wants to take some chances to try to get a ball up in the air, he's willing to do that. Very similar to Yandy. Both those guys are just really talented hitters that hit the ball on a line a lot more than most. Now they're taking some chances to get it a little higher in the air.
Kevin, this run with just everything going right in every facet, do you just want to just continue to ride it and just see how long it goes?
Ideally, yeah. I don't not want to ride it, so stay out of the way and let him play.
Harold's play, is it sort of emblematic of the attitude, the vibrancy of this group?
I hope so, because everybody, even our pitchers on the bench noticed it. From the ground ball, beating it out to his ground ball to third, and then beating it out to second. I mean, everybody, it really worked in our favor that something really good came from that, and Brandon came up. So it'll be something that I'm guessing the guys will be talking about.
So true. And, boy, it's got to be fun to manage this team. And you don't have to deal with any superstar attitudes. You don't have to deal with any these big contract guys, who aren't all bad. But even these older pitchers now with this pitch clock, they're talking about, they're getting a little worn out. Like it's a guys that are throwing max effort, by the time, the 6th inning comes on, they just don't have time to let their body kind of recover from pitch after pitch after pitch. So,
and the other thing he said there too, the games have kind of become a long ball game, and I think that's true, obviously. And I just don't know how you can compete anymore unless you don't hit the home run. And you see what they're able to do now, and it's kind of like how the Yankees have been able to do it. But the difference between the Rays, it's not like they're like leaving the situational hitting behind.
Right.
The effort clearly with Harold Ramirez is also coming with it. I'm not seeing too many base running gaffes like we saw last year. There've been a couple, but not really. Even when they steal, like they're being smart about it. I think they're not forcing that. And then also on fielding, I think they're like 3rd or 4th in the league in least amount of errors so far through 9 games. So they're playing clean baseball. And hey, when you got an ERA of 1.8 to go along with that, you're unbeatable. Man. You're just right now. They're just unbeatable.
If I would, just because Boston is our bitch and always will be, it would be nice just to blow through them as well. I mean, the Rays are like, okay, we're 9-0, and obviously human nature, you take your foot off the gas pedal, but it's good that the Red Sox are coming in. There's a little bit of attitude there, right? We don't like them, they don't like us. Same with the Yankees. So this gets you up. Just seeing the Red Sox uniform and their arrogance, their historical arrogance, that'll get you going. It'll get you going. So they'll be locked in, and hopefully they whoop their ass. I'd just love to see, and Red Sox fan, if any of them dare to show up at the park, which you're right, they probably won't now. They'll have to walk out with their tail between their legs. That'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, and they've already made the switch, by the way. It won't be Fleming this time around, by the way.
Fleming's not pitching. They have Beeks put in there at the moment. Beeks?
Yeah.
Beeks and Beeks?
So Beeks, yeah. So this might be the day where the bullpen gets a little bit more work.
Hey, if you show up and give up runs, like more than one, you're out of the rotation.
Yeah.
Sorry, you get no more chances. Which is fine. If Fleming's searching for it, why not give another guy a chance? And that's the other thing. If you're a Rays player right now, there's somebody behind you itching to get in there or get your at bat or get your innings. And that makes that makes everything ramped up a little bit. You got to be sharp when you go out there. There's no room for mediocre here. Sorry. Take that to Oakland or Boston. There's no room for that here, which is just a great situation to be in. All right, we'll hit our first break here. When we come back, I want to talk some Masters. So many great storylines for that. We'll get to the Lightning. We'll be doing that with Dave Randorf at 11 o'clock. He'll be joining us, the voice of the Lightning. So we'll have him at 11 o'clock. But next up, Masters, and then we're also going to talk some Bucks in our first hour as well. We thank you guys for joining us. As always, we appreciate the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you've been involved in an accident or had your car totaled, didn't get what you thought you should, you may have a case. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com and find out. It's a free call. And Bay Area Modern Medical Center as well. We'll be back 3 minutes. Stay with us. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. Hey guys, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. We know that. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. It's always a fun experience. Just head on over there. You will not find a better selection anywhere in the world. It's a jewelry super center. They've got engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, and thousands of diamonds to choose from. They're all right there. They don't have to ship anything in. They have jewelry for every price range as well. Guys, if you're looking for some of those baller watches, they have a great selection. They have new and used. You can get some great collectibles there as well. And if you're looking for some more affordable gold and diamond jewelry, you have to check out the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Emily created this collection for people who want to wear and stack elaborate jewelry but don't want to pay the big ticket prices. You got to check this stuff out. The Gold and Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, interest-free financing for up to 5 years, and a layaway program, 20% down and only 6 monthly payments. And this month only, get up to 15% off the March birthstone, which is aquamarine. Like we always say, keep it local, folks. The Gold and Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub, such great philanthropic benefactors. So let's keep it all local here when we have the opportunity, right? It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports.
It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Good to be back with you here on this Monday, Masters Post Monday. As we're going to get into that a little bit, we're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo will be joining us at 11:45, and today's topic is going to be playing sports and staying active late into your 50s, 60s, and 70s. As I just went, and I was, about 3 weeks ago, I started doing some training for skiing. Doing some leg work. So I don't do a whole lot of leg work, but I started doing a lot of leg work. And my two friends that are my age were, it wasn't as easy for them as it was for me because I've been doing some training and got my legs in that situation. And, trying to stay in good shape also helps too. So we'll get some tips from Chris, about staying active late into your life.
And what about staying active and playing sports through your 20s like I am? Which
There you go.
I haven't been the best at, by the way, but I am happy to report me and my friends have joined a men's softball league, which starts on the 27th.
Really?
We had our first practice Saturday morning. Went out there.
Whoa. You had a practice?
Oh, we had like a team practice. We're going all out for this.
That might be against the rules.
We bought a pitching screen.
Oh, stop.
I'm not kidding. We bought one of those official bats for softball.
Stop.
We got the official softball, the actual balls, and we went out there and we had a full squad practice because it's been a while since a lot of us have done much concerning softball/baseball. So we had to. Right. I'm just gonna let you know.
You're smoking it?
I'm smoking it.
Wow.
I'm moving my way up the lineup after a BP session. Moving my way up the lineup.
You got raised fever.
I have baseball fever right now.
No, I miss playing softball a lot. So if you need an old guy to come in and mash a couple home runs, I'll be happy to come in.
We're playing over there in McDill.
Oh,
so
that's my old stomping grounds.
We're kind of near your stomping grounds.
Yeah, I own that left field net.
So I know you probably
left field monster.
I don't need you to. You can be catcher. You can catch a little bit.
I'm fine with that. I'll take, I'll hit 2 over the wall and be and catch. I'm good with that.
There
you don't even have to run anymore when you hit a home run.
Exactly.
Which I didn't like. I never liked that rule. After you hit a home run, you want the trot.
Oh, I want to trot.
You want the trot.
I want to trot. I want to do the Gibson around second.
Yeah, and you can't even do that anymore because they look at you weird if you want to run the bases. I'm like, because you want to watch it go over the screen as you run to first and then round it, like, in case it goes off the screen or off the wall, and you like, and then you slow down, running that past first, then you're in the trot, and which is like you can't even feel your legs because you're just on cloud 9 because you just hit a home run and you're like,
yeah.
Can't even do that anymore.
I never hit a home run when I played, unfortunately. I was always too small in stature. But if I would have, I definitely would have been the guy, like if I knew it, I probably would have pimped it.
Oh,
like I would have been the guy that watches it.
Hell yes.
Like if I played in MLB, the pitchers would hate me because I would definitely be the kind of guy that slowly walks down first base and just watches it.
Yeah.
How could you not?
Our high school field, our home field, was where the Yankees trained. The Yankees minor league trained, Boggs Field. Like left center was like 450. Like seriously.
450.
Yeah, because it was just. Yeah, it was like 450.
It's like Polo Grounds. What is this?
Because the field was just set up that way, and just you could not hit a ball out. And right field, they didn't really have a fence. It was like another field. It's different now, but I mean, you had to freaking hit a bomb. You had to double into the shrubs, and that was an automatic double. I mean, even my butt could have run around. All right, let's talk some Masters. Jon Rahm. Takes advantage of Brooks Koepka absolutely crapping the bed. At one point, Brooks had a 4-stroke lead and ended up losing by
4 strokes. Yeah.
So to me, it's not about Brooks. A lot of it is about Brooks. But Jon Rahm has become and is number 1 in the world again. He took over that from Scottie Scheffler. He's got every part of the game. And I even bet my good buddy Fitzy. Sorry to rat you out here, Fitzy. Even when Rahm was up 4 strokes, I said no. I said Brooks is going to completely crap the bed. He's been playing 54 holes of Carnival Golf in the Live Tour. He's not battle tested. Rahm's already won 3 times this year. He's battle tested. He knows the Masters. It means something to him because it was Seve's 40th anniversary of him first winning the Masters. It was Seve's birthday as well. I mean, and he understands, and he talked about it in the Butler cabin afterwards. The tradition of the game means something to him. It's not just picking up a check like it is for a lot of guys. Most of those guys on the Live Tour. So yeah, and I think people want to say, well, look at the Live Tour, they did so well. Mickelson, Reed, they had 3 of the top 6 guys. I'm like, yeah, you know what else they had? They had a guy with a 8-shot, the guy that was with a 4-shot lead who lost 8 shots to a guy that plays on the PGA Tour, and when it counts. So that's you could look at it both ways. Yeah, you know what the Live players did? They did what they do best. They lost and picked up a big check. That's what they do, and they're good at it.
That's your take today, huh?
Yeah, they picked up a big check and they lost, which is because there's no pressure on that tour at all to win.
Well, I might be the Live. I might be like a little stand-in Live spokesman today because if you haven't noticed, this was a coincidence. Look at that. I'm repping the Shark this morning.
Yeah, it was good to see him he didn't get an invitation to go to the Masters. Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. Maybe if you would have won it, he didn't blow a 6-shot lead.
Listen, I was in the full camp.
To Nick Faldo.
I was in the.
Sorry, Greg.
I was in the full camp.
I loved Fred Ridley's response to that question, and in his press conference on Wednesday, he's like, we wanted the focus to be on the Masters, not anything else. Damn right. Damn right.
Whatever. I was pulling for the Live guys yesterday because I just wanted to see what would have happened on 18 if we had a Live guy win, because Norman promised they would have like all of them come out and do it. I wanted to see it, and I'm in the content business.
Yeah.
And a Live guy winning is good for the content game. It's good for the clicks. I wanted it.
Yeah.
And I had a completely different take. I thought the Live guys kind of showed that when it comes to these majors, they're ready to go. They're ready to play. There's still some talent on that tour. And
of course, they're good players.
Listen, Rahm yesterday was to me, I thought it was easy for him, especially when Koepka started to go down.
He wasn't even at his best.
He wasn't at his best. He probably could. I mean, he essentially was 3 under yesterday, probably.
69.
Yeah, he probably could have been better. I thought he probably went into a little bit of just manage mode because Brooks was completely giving it away.
Absolutely.
But so he was great. He's the best player in the world. We know that. But I mean, I told you before the show. How could you watch it yesterday and not start to be pulling for Phil? I mean, take everything. If you might not like Phil anymore, you might think his legacy's tarnished. But Phil Mickelson at the Masters, 52 years old, playing that way, I was kind of rooting for Rahm to have a meltdown so we can get a playoff.
Listen, when he was doing what he did at Kiowa, I was his biggest cheerleader. I was so in it for Phil. I loved it. And I love watching, the older guys at the Masters. Freddie.
Fred Couples had a great weekend.
Yeah, he had a great week. And I love watching those guys play, and Tiger, if he could have been healthy, and God, he has gotten such bad luck with the weather in the tournaments that he played. I saw somebody did a little thing on that, and it was like every big tournaments that he's played, the majors have really gone against him in terms of weather. So that was difficult to see, and it's difficult to see him play in that way. And I'll get to Tiger in a little bit, but my gut has always wanted to root for Phil, but yesterday I wasn't because of the Live Tour, and it's like I was getting into a friend of mine who's a golfer, back and forth about the Live, and he's like, I can't support the hypocrisy of the PGA Tour and the things they say. And I'm like, I'm with you on that. I think, the Live was good for the PGA Tour to finally step up and do the things for the players that they need to do. And Jay Monahan failed miserably to get that done before he was forced to do so. So in that sense, I agree with you. The PGA Tour has had a monopoly, been hypocrites, and not done well by their players. And that's 1,000%. But the whole concept of the Live Tour and the sports washing is what it is. To me, it's more about Greg Norman being an a-hole, wanting to take the PGA Tour down. He finally found a blank checkbook to help him. And the whole, it just didn't have to go this way. It didn't have to go this way. About making the PGA Tour draw a line in the sand and saying we cannot coexist if you're going to try to pilfer all of our players and just throw money at them and destroy our system the way you wanted to, and turn golf into a carnival. I'm sorry, Live Golf. It's a carnival. I don't want my professional golf league to look like that. I just don't. You may say I'm no fun, whatever, and I think the PGA Tour sure needs.
The ratings have proved that people all think that way.
Of course, they don't. Nobody cares about them. By the way, did you see the nice little shot that Nance took at?
Yeah, I did.
The CW.
Yeah, the CW, yeah.
Which
is curious because doesn't CBS have stock in CW?
They do. What's funny though is the CBS owned stations. CBS owns a group of stations, TOG being one of them here, Channel 44, that is owned by CBS. I think they own 12 CBS stations. Mm-hmm. Those stations will not carry Live Golf because of their tie to the PGA Tour. So that's why if you're looking for the Live Golf on Channel 44, they can't play it. So go watch it on YouTube. So Jim Nance goes yesterday when Brooks hit it into the crosswalk, which they do have signs up that say CW. And it means crosswalk. He's like, oh, he hit it into the CW. And pauses, and he goes, crosswalk. And that was brilliant, little troll there. But, no, the whole feel of that tour and the acrimony that is now developed between the two tours, you have to pick a side, right? You've picked Liv. I
have not picked Liv. I'm just more. I'm not going to like.
I'm a PGA Tour
a lot of people.
Because
a
like
lot of
the
people
tradition of the game, like John Rahm.
Because a lot of people are mad at the whole sports washing thing and where the money's coming from. And my stance on that is there's so many things that we operate with in this country that are the same way.
Yes.
That
Saudi
are very,
money
that
is
are very
everywhere.
sketchy in
Everywhere.
Saudi. And it's like, if we're not going to talk about it with this, then I'm definitely not going to lose sleep over it with golf.
Right.
That's my thing. And my other thing is every player, to me, everybody, and this goes for life, not just golf, everybody cuts their own deal. So I'm not going to bitch and moan that somebody that probably isn't worth $200 million got $200 million because everybody cuts their own deal.
Good for you.
You're 40 or 50-something years old and you suck at playing golf nowadays and you can't compete, and they're going to give you that money. By all means, go get it. I was more disappointed in like a Cam Smith or like a DeChambeau, somebody that to me had a lot of unfinished business on the tour.
Agreed.
Something like that bothers me more than anything. But when it comes to the majors, it's like I almost forget about it. And in Phil Mickelson's case, which, by the way, when you break down what he said all this time later, I think the reaction was a bit
way over the top.
Way over the top on Phil. I don't know how you could say that tarnished his legacy. It didn't for me. I still enjoy watching Phil play, especially when he played like that. Him slimming down, even though he looks completely
emaciated.
Yeah, maybe
got a Tom Brady look to him.
Maybe that's helped him kind of a little bit to drop some of that weight. Maybe it's improved.
Thought he was fat though.
No, but he was definitely not the most looking in shape kind of guy.
Right.
But he's slimmer now, and it just was fun. He was smiling again, which he hasn't done in a while. The fist bump when he made that putt on 18, you could tell that meant something to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy just finished in second place at the Masters at 52.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool moment myself.
It was. But I was invested in Rahm winning.
But yeah, I mean,
I was invested in Rahm.
If you're good for like the new guys getting their rub, you're seeing a player right now who's putting himself as the best in the PGA Tour. He's off to a historic start, four wins now, right?
Mm-hmm.
All in 2023. Of course, people would want Rahm to win, and of course, the whole thing with Ballesteros, his birthday, the 40th anniversary, like the story was there for Rahm as well.
And that's what I was talking about. I'd love to hear John Rahm, wax poetic about the traditions of the game and how much it means to him. And also, I thought it was interesting from a tactical standpoint. He had a conversation with Tony Finau, who famously, when Tiger won in 2019, dumped the ball into the water at 12, as did Brooks Koepka, as did someone else that was in the hunt.
I think it was Molinari.
Yeah, Molinari. And it was interesting. I remember watching that because Joe LaCava, Tiger's caddy, and Tiger, so to speak, when they were on 11, on the green on 11, Joe LaCava especially was looking over and watching the shots at 12 of the guys that went in the water. And I was like, and Tiger was too. And I'm like, dude, you got to hold a play. What are you doing watching that? And that's exactly why they were watching it. They were seeing how those balls were struck and where they were going. And Finau himself told John Rahm, said, did you hit a good shot? He goes, yeah, I hit it maybe a foot to the right of where I wanted it, and it ended up in the water. Mm-hmm. He said, if I had to do it again, I would have aimed way, way left, like further, which is what Tiger did. Hit it between the bunkers, have your 25-footer, and if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you pick up, you make the par, and you go. It's not that tough of a putt from there. And that's exactly what Rahm did when he came to number 12. He said, it's just so inviting. I think he was playing 161 there yesterday, but he goes, I'm hitting it over towards the bunkers, and hopefully you don't get a gust of wind that takes it long or short. And even getting in the bunkers is not that bad of a shot.
And even the way he was at the end, the last three holes, because Brooks birdied 14 and 15, right? Or 15 and 16 to get himself back to 9 under, I believe.
Yeah,
So, Rahm was at 12 under. Rahm hits one into the right, and he has like a tree kind of right in front of him.
Shot.
That shot to me was when I had my moment where I'm like, okay, he's got this now.
Oh, that was it. That was the winning shot.
Like, that felt like the Fitzpatrick shot from last year in the U.S. Open that he hit there from the bunker. And we were like, all right, he's winning this thing. That's
was that on
Rahm
17?
Shot. That was on 17.
17, right.
But even the hole before that was a big.
Was it 17 or? Yeah, I think it was 17. Yeah, you're right.
But even the hole before that, though, was interesting because, and this is where Koepka kind of gave it away. He had life right there, and he had that putt, if you recall, for a birdie, and it might have been like, 4 or 5 feet out?
Yeah.
And he sends it just past it, right? He had his moment right there because Rahm had missed his birdie putt and left it open, and things would have gotten interesting. And then I was a little confused on 18, and maybe you could the rules were kind of interesting. So Rahm hits his, and I thought it was OB, so he hits the provisional, puts it right down the fairway. Why did he not drop a stroke there?
Well, I think because the ball ended up in the fairway, or just short of the fairway. Did it not?
The first one he hit?
Yeah.
I never saw where the first one ended up.
Yeah,
All of a sudden,
they thought it might be out of bounds, but then they realized that it dropped, it hit the tree and came back, and it was short. I believe that's.
So that was the first ball then that he hit.
Yeah,
that wasn't
yeah.
the provisional.
No, he hit.
Okay.
He ended up hitting his first ball, but he had a big lead, so obviously. But that third shot though he hit, even though he had a big lead, that third shot that he hit, he gets over the bunker by about a yard and a half, and it ends up being close. But no, he played conservatively, I thought, down the stretch because he didn't have to do anything dramatic. But that shot at 17, he hits a left to right. It's interesting because Brooks kind of had the same shot. He was a little deeper into it's a little tougher shot, but still a tough shot for Rahm, and he just carves it into and makes the birdie too. I mean, what a shot for Rahm. And I think that was 14. I think it was 14 where he hit that shot that I thought was either way, he played some spectacular golf, and I just knew that Koepka would melt down, because if you watch Full Swing, and you watched it, you kind of felt sorry for him. I watched Full Swing, and I kind of felt like he's a doucher, and I was the biggest Brooks Koepka fan. FSU guy, loved the fact that he was a little bit different, a little bit edgy. I liked that part of him. And then at some point it went from edgy to douchey. I don't know where it happened. Then when I watched Full Swing and his girlfriend and everything, I was just like, I'm done with you guys. To me, he sounded like a petulant, spoiled brat. And I was just done with it. And then, the Live Golf thing. And I guess if you're injured and you're not playing well and somebody throws all that money at you, you got to take it.
Well,
but
his game.
Thought it was an easy way out.
His game had really gotten bad.
Yeah.
Around the time that he made the decision to go to Live Golf, like he had dropped all the way to like 80 in the official golf ranking. And in regards to like sitting at number 1, I think he has other than Tiger in the last 25 years, he had the second longest reign at number 1. We forget about that.
Yeah.
And he won 4 majors in a very short amount of time.
Historic.
This guy, let's not forget that. This guy at the majors is one of the greatest that we've seen in the last 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
And you saw that again this week up until the meltdown. So I think that's good that you get to see the old Brooks kind of compete. And again, I felt bad for him too, because he was talking a lot this week about that decision when he was asked. Mm-hmm. And he's like, listen, if I don't go to Live Golf, I'm paraphrasing, basically if he didn't make that decision, he wouldn't have been able to compete this weekend. Is kind of what I gathered from it, because he was such in bad shape physically and mentally as well. He had knee surgery. He had multiple knee surgeries, if you recall. Right? And that took a toll on him. You go to Live, obviously the money, it is what it is, right? But you also get presented with the fact that you don't have to play golf every weekend.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. I think
it allowed him to rest and get his body right, his mind right again, and go, I'm Brooks Koepka. I can win these things. And so I think that's why he was here. So I was like, okay, I got a new perspective on now kind of why you went. And he even said, if I was healthy at the time, my decision might have been different.
You can look at that two ways. Either you wanted to fight your way out of it and just get back healthy and come back and stay on the PGA Tour, or you can take a big fat check and work your way back.
Yeah, there's two ways. But when you're presented another one, everybody cuts their own deal.
Right, and you can't crush the guy for it. I get it. So I maybe have to change my tune on Brooks and maybe be rooting for him to come back. So we'll see. But I thought, I thought the day was for Rahm, and the meltdown from Brooks to me was more about Live Golf than it was the guys that finished it.
Well, maybe Greg needs to alter something. 54 holes is not.
Stop it. Make it a real golf league. You could do the team thing, but stop with all the other carnival BS.
I don't need music on.
I don't need a DJ on every freaking hole. We have waste management. Have a couple of places where you can do some stuff, but let's make it a professional league.
Let's just agree that when you had them all together, though, again. You looked at the leaderboard that you had there.
They got good players, sure.
I'm just saying, when you had them all together now for once, and you see the leaderboard that there was at that Masters, it was good. This was a good weekend for golf, regardless of the weather, which kind of
But I don't think there's any question that if Brooks Koepka had been on the PGA Tour and been, playing 72 holes against this type of competition,
probably doesn't have that when that happened.
No, he just wasn't sharp. He didn't finish the way he used to finish. Why not?
He went through a stretch, I think it was 20 or 21
22 holes, no birdies.
No birdies.
Yeah. You can't, after just lapping the field. And let's not forget, John Rahm starts this tournament with a 4-putt.
Yeah.
And comes back and finishes 12 under par. He could have pushed that to 15 or 16 if he needed to. I'm convinced of that, but he didn't need to. And look, And to me, the biggest thing I learned about Live Golf is these guys are going to have a hard time finishing a major with 72 holes if the kid's playing where they're playing. It is. They're going to have a hard time. Because you could say what you want about Phil, but there's no pressure when you're 10 shots back. You're just letting it flow. You're not going. You're not.
His game was growing throughout the weekend. Though.
It was, but I'm still saying.
He even said going to Sunday, I feel like I'm really close to having one of those
Yeah,
rounds.
but it's a way different deal when you're trying to come from 8-10 strokes back and shoot at Masters where you could just shoot at the pins.
That's true. I mean, Rory did that the same year prior to.
So it's a totally different deal when you're in the battle, going stroke for stroke and have the lead, and you have to play that way. Phil ain't shooting 65 if he was in a battle with somebody else head to head.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
And then we saw the contrast to that of the young kid, by the way, Sam Bennett. Who might have been the story of the entire tournament.
Fantastic.
If you know his backstory, I encourage you to go check it out with his father, the tattoo that he had.
So good. Such a great story.
Great story.
What a kid. Well, in fact, we may get into that a little bit later on. We got to take a break because Dave Randolph is coming up next, voice of the Lightning. We'll find out what's going on with this team that just got 19 goals scored against them on their road trip. Yikes. What's going on? Should we be worried? Personally, I'm not. But we'll hear what Dave Randolph has to say. Quick break. Back in a moment. Stay with us. Hey guys, JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. There is no better place to shop for jewelry than the Gold and Diamond Source. We know that. They are the family jewelers, and they will treat you like family. It's always a fun experience. Just head on over there. You will not find a better selection anywhere in the world. It's a jewelry super center. They've got engagement rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, and thousands of diamonds to choose from. They're all right there. They don't have to ship anything in. They have jewelry for every price range as well. Guys, if you're looking for some of those baller watches, they have a great selection. They have new and used. You can get some great collectibles there as well. And if you're looking for some more affordable gold and diamond jewelry, you have to check out the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Emily created this collection for people who want to wear and stack elaborate jewelry but don't want to pay the big ticket prices. You got to check this stuff out. The Gold and Diamond Source has plenty of options to accommodate any budget, interest-free financing for up to 5 years, and a layaway program, 20% down and only 6 monthly payments. And this month only, get up to 15% off the March birthstone, which is aquamarine. Like we always say, keep it local, folks. The Gold and Diamond Source, Julie and Steve Weintraub, such great philanthropic benefactors. So let's keep it all local here when we have the opportunity, right? It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com.
Let's go.
Right now.
Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo will join us at 11:45 to talk about staying fit into your 50s, 60s, and maybe even 70s, so you can ski and play golf and all those fun things. So we'll chat with him. But right now, we're going to talk some voice of the Lightning, Dave Randorf, who joins us this morning via StreamYard. Good morning, handsome man. How are you?
Trying to line myself up here. There we go.
There you go.
Better?
That's that. You are centered now. Yes, you are centered.
All right.
See, now you don't have that big Bally's crew. Getting all the lights ready and all the cameras ready. You got to do it yourself today.
This is all. I don't know if my posse, my crew. Yes, no, I don't have that at Bally's either, JP. You know that. So happy to be on with you, boys. Hello, Nick.
Oh.
How you doing, Dave? It's good to have you on.
Good. Thanks for having me on, boys.
Well, the one thing you should not be doing is getting in front of a Lightning goal right now, because evidently there's a lot of shots going at the goal and they're going in. I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like they righted the ship a few weeks ago, and they get the 2 wins at the Devils, and in that streak they went on, and then everything got solidified with Toronto, and maybe there was just a bit of an exhale. And let's get ready for the playoffs. And, that's all it takes in this league, right? To lose a little bit of an edge. And they just haven't played well the last 3 games. You were on the road trip. What's your take?
I think exactly that. And yes, and John Cooper said as much. He said quite pointedly, post-game Saturday night, he said that I feel like this team stopped playing as soon as our playoff spot was clinched. And you can't do that. Otherwise, you're going to get embarrassed. And he said they were embarrassed on back-to-back nights coming out of New York. And then, of course, they allowed 7 goals against Ottawa for the second time in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I think he would qualify that as 3 consecutive embarrassments. And so I'm asked this everywhere I go right now. What do you think? Can they flick the switch? Can they turn it on? I know that question's coming from you. So let's just jump to that question.
Let's go right to it.
I think the coach and the players certainly have different levels of concern. I think the players themselves probably do feel that, listen, we got this. We want to play better. We don't enjoy what happened on Saturday night or the previous 2 nights in either game against the Rangers or the Islanders. But we just, sometimes it's hard to just mentally and physically get up. I'm not making excuses for the players, because personally, I don't like it. I'd like to see them playing a little bit better. The coach, on the other hand, is looking at this from a very objective point of view, going, how can you go from being so loose, so sloppy, so unengaged to being right on top of your game against a team that is gunning for you, a team that has had, just like yourselves, months to prepare for one opponent.
Yep.
Think about the Boston Bruins and their 63 wins now. So much for that record, JP? That was nice while it lasted.
Hopefully they get what we got in the playoffs. So
yeah, well, we'll see. But so to my point, they can still face, with 2 games remaining, one of 3 teams. And I know the Bruins are the Bruins. They're going to worry more about themselves anyway. But those are 3 entirely different scenarios and challenges and opponents.
True.
And be it the Panthers or the Islanders or the Penguins. And whereas the Leafs and the Lightning have known for virtually months that they were going to face each other. So both teams, no doubt, have been drilling down even harder, because they haven't faced each other in a while. They'll face each other obviously tomorrow night, but they've been drilling down on every minute detail, no doubt. So that's what the Leafs are going to bring. And there is, of course, the small motivation of getting past the first round for the first time since 2004. So they're going to bring it. There's an immense amount of pressure on the Leafs, and they are a good team. So I just don't like the notion that you think you can just kind of snap your fingers and erase some terrible games, quite frankly, and jump into the cauldron that is the Stanley Cup playoffs. Yes, I know they have experience. Yes, I know they've been there, done that before, and we've even seen some kind of late season stumbles before, and they've recovered. Can they do it again? Yeah, I guess they could. I'm not going to say they can't, not with this group, but do I love it? No, I don't think I do. I would prefer to see them. It's not necessarily a win or a loss at this stage for them. It's how you're playing.
Right.
And right now, if this is how they're playing, all we can do on the outside looking in is going, well, that doesn't really look too good, does it?
No.
And you've been with this team now for about 3-4 years, and you've seen, and they've gone through ebbs and flows, 3 seasons, and you've seen the ebbs and flows. Like even last year, like they had a stretch through about February, March where they didn't play well. and then they got to the postseason and they kind of turned it on. But this year has felt a little bit different. I think you might agree. And what's kind of concerning me a little bit is you hear Cooper come out and say, like, I just didn't expect it to be like this.
Yeah.
I think that's what he said after Ottawa. Is that a little bit more concerning to you, that Cooper is being more like shocked by this year? And it seems like he's had to try and search more so this year than other years to try to get these guys going. And for whatever reason, they hasn't responded.
John Cooper, as you guys well know, has stated publicly many, many times that he has an immense amount of faith in this group. And I still think he does. But for a comment to come out like that saying, quite frankly, I'm surprised at what I'm seeing right now with 2 games to go, was telling. And now, is that an admission or is that another Coop button pressing, thing? He's a calculated guy. He's a bright man, and so perhaps there was a little bit of that mixed in on top of it. But I think it's probably 50-50 if you ask. If we're just going to be honest, and I think you could probably draw your own conclusions on that. We've talked about how you can't just rein it in defensively. I really believe you need to have some building blocks in place going into the first shift of the first game of the Stanley Cup playoffs, no matter what series you're talking about, is intense. It is like horses out of the barn, out of the gates, Kentucky Derby. And it's intense. The building's alive. We've all been there. We've all experienced it from the seats. And it's awesome is what it is. And the players are like that too. So if you aren't ready for that, playoffs and games in the playoffs are decided by the smallest of details. A missed assignment there, a bad penalty here that leads to a power play goal, or worse, some kind of shorthanded goal situation. Just as the smallest things are magnified, just as they are in any sport, even in a 7-game series. If you look at that game that the Lightning lost, was it Game 4 in the Stanley Cup Final last year, where Colorado scored on what we all thought and figured was a too many men call, and ultimately that was a killer, and Coop knew it at the time. So you really have to have your details tight, and they're far from tight right now. So that's where I'm at. I'm looking at the lineup now. I was just looking at the lines again. Sergeyev's back at practice today, which was expected. He had the birth of a child. Congratulations to he and his wife. That's awesome. And that's fine that he missed, a game. He'll be fine. He's in an excellent season. A lot of guys, it should be pointed out, have had great seasons. There's a lot of them. Hagel is at career. Nick Paul's gone dry, but he still has career high in goals, and he's still contributing in other ways. Sergeyev's had an amazing season. He's got more assists now than he previously had his career high in points. So he's had a great season. Stamkos, points, obviously. Kucherov, 108 points. Come on. So there's a lot to like here, but we're not talking individually. We're talking team structure, and that's what wins you games in the playoffs. The Lightning know that. They are no doubt drilling down on that as we speak at practice right now. But it's you talk about reining it in. They've got to reel it in pretty quick here. Like one of those sailfish boating excursions off the coast. They got to start reeling hard. Pull back real hard. Pull back real hard. They got to get it together.
Yeah, speaking of fishing, the Coops Kids thing last week was a big deal and obviously raised a ton of money. Were you involved in that? I've gone out a couple of times on those and on that tournament. It's one of the funnest days, and you catch a lot of fish. It's a fantastic opportunity and obviously a great thing that Coop loves to do, and it raises a lot of money. That's pretty fun.
For pediatric cancer, I wasn't there that day, but it is just another example of how this organization from John Cooper through the players, where the players give back. And there's countless examples of how this group organization, not just the players and coaching staff, how the organization gives back. We've got another big day on Friday full of organization-wide community
service
events, things that are happening. So it just never stops with this group, and I'm proud to be a part of it, to tell you the truth.
Absolutely. Dave Randolph joining us here. You mentioned Hagel. He's at 29 goals, and Braden Point's at 49. So if there's a little bit of drama left, these 2 games here this week, that's part of it. I would love to see Braden Point get that 50th goal. It would be so well deserved. And you've been around this league a long time. When a guy gets to 50, that's a different level, right? That puts you just in a different type of category.
Couldn't agree more. That's the perfect way to describe it. and you are forever in a club. Like we still talk about Corey Perry being a 50-goal scorer.
Yep.
He did it once. He did it a long time ago, but he did it.
Yep.
And he was an MVP, and he had a career year that that is always on his resume and always comes up. Now, of course, Braden Point's got a couple other things to go along with that in 2 Stanley Cup rings, and that's obviously the biggest part of it. But individually, there's a couple of marks, and 50 goals is special. 60s is super elite, and now we've got another 60-goal scorer in Pasternak who got the hat trick. Did he get a hat trick last night? I know he got the 60 the other day, but anyway.
The hat trick, yeah.
So I couldn't agree with you more. And just to think of what goes into getting to 49, wouldn't it just be a crying shame if he stalled somehow in the next 2 games and didn't just get that one more goal, right, JP?
Yeah.
And Nick, it would be unfortunate because he deserves it. More than anything, this guy deserves it. He brings it night in, night out. He's got that clutch ability that not a lot of players do have. He drives the offense. You know, I listen to your post-game show with my partner, Brian Englum, and the word he uses all the time is he's the transmission. He's the transporter. And without him, well, we saw what happens without him in the Stanley Cup final. There's no question in my mind that he would have turned one of those games that they lost by himself with one of those clutch moments and his ability to back up the D. So he deserves 50, and it would really be a crying shame to stall this close to that elite mark and forever enter the books as a 50-goal scorer in the National Hockey League. Not to say he won't do it again. He could do it again for sure, but it's not easy. And a lot has to go right, including health. So you're right there. Let's go grab it and shoot the puck, Braden. Next 2 games, shoot the puck.
Hey, and when you look to this Toronto series, by the way, looking ahead, I think we could all agree, especially last year and this year, the pressure's all on Toronto, like you kind of alluded to when you first opened up. The pressure's all on them with the playoff drought. The Lightning just need to, they have the advantage to kind of be able to play freely and not worry about that pressure as much, I think. But you know a lot about that market, I'm sure. Can you kind of speak to that dynamic of being in Toronto, having that team, the pressure they're going to have to deal with for this series, especially from a media standpoint alone, what they have to be feeling there?
I lived there for 20 years, and just being a Canadian, no matter where you live in the country, the focus is on the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's the bane of the existence of somebody from Vancouver like me, because no Leafs, But having said that, it is all about the Leafs, and they are a good team. Let's call a spade a spade. They're a very good team, and they will be prepared. I think their goaltending situation is more than interesting. There's a little bit of an eyebrow raiser there with Matt Murray, who has kind of been up and down anyway. He's out, and you got Ilya Samsonov, who's probably going to be the guy, and then they've got an unproven guy named Justin Wall in behind him. So, having said all that, I can't really even begin to tell your viewers and listeners here how far opposite ends of the spectrum it is in terms of media pressure and fan pressure, how wide that gap is between the Tampa Bay area and here. People love the Lightning here. They love the games. They love the wins. They love the championships. But there is nowhere near the amount of scrutiny, criticism, analysis, panel upon panel upon panel on radio and television on 2 national sports networks that break down the minutest of details. And now that they've signed this kid out of Minnesota, Matt Nyes, I think his name is, now they're all breaking down, where he should play and what he brings to the table and all. It's just an obsession there. Largely in part because they haven't won since 1967. 1967, they've not won a Stanley Cup. They've been, since that time, probably the highest price, if not the highest price ticket in the league, right up there. And secondly, they have not won a series, boys, since 2004. I mean, think about that one. They have not won a series since 2004, since their coach was the late Pat Quinn. So it's just and now, of course, then they've lost it. Now, out of the last 6 first-round series that they've lost, I believe last 4 of it in Game 7. So it's just been one soul-crushing loss after the next, including last year when they lose Game 7 at home on 2 goals scored by a guy who grew up there.
Yes.
So it's just one thing after the next. So there will be a lot of focus and pressure. Players are probably used to it now. I imagine they're already starting to do this one. Close the ranks and try as hard as they can to block out the noise. And there is a certain amount of media obligation that you have to go along with. But Mitch Marner, watch one of his press conferences. He just looks straight into the camera, doesn't make eye contact with anybody, talks like this, talks real fast, and then gets the hell out. Like he just doesn't give you anything, and because he knows he's from Toronto, and he knows. So the longer the series goes, the more the pressure mounts on the Leafs.
That's interesting. Dave Randolph joining us here, voice of the Lightning. And what's really interesting is how does Coop play this game tomorrow night? How does Toronto approach this game tomorrow night? Do you want to send messages? Do you want to look at matchups? Or do you want to just rest your players and go, we got something bigger coming up? I mean, obviously Coop's not happy with his team right now. Is this the game where you say, guys, show me what you're going to do in game one of this series, but show me tonight. So if the switch is going to be flipped, can we just flip it now? Can we do it now? I think Cooper's got a myriad of options here. How do you think he plays it?
I think a lot of it's going to come from within, from these players. They know. I'm sure they aren't happy with the last three losses themselves as they look themselves in the mirror. No, they've got way better in them. And having said all that, this will be, hyped up tomorrow night's game, first round series preview and all that. And it'll be really hyped up in north of the border for sure. Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot more subdued than we all would maybe expect it to be, with the focus and emphasis on the Lightning on just playing better. I don't see anybody getting in the scrap tomorrow night. They can't afford any more injuries.
No.
The Tanner Janelle loss is right now is really hard. It doesn't look like he's going to be back anytime soon. There's been no official announcement, but we all saw the knee buckle.
Yeah.
And he's not. I'm telling you right now, he's not playing in game one. I've got nothing concrete, but I think we would all agree it'd be a stretch to think he's going to be available anytime soon. Having said all that, I think the focus again is just let's play better, boys. Just play better. As I said earlier in our chat here, it's not about winning or losing this one. It means nothing to either one of us. It's about feeling better. And now, having said that, I think back to a couple of years ago when they had some late season. Remember the late season games they had against Florida? And they were crazy games. They were like wild scores. They even had one against Toronto last year. I should have looked it up before this game. I think it was like 8-1 or something like that.
Yep.
And in the end, no, it didn't mean anything.
Yep.
What happens tomorrow night won't have any carryover effect at all. It will, once the noise gets louder and the season is officially over and we all get on that plane and go up to Toronto, that's when the hype machine is really going to crank up internally and externally. And so whatever happens tomorrow night is not going to carry over to next week, but the Lightning want to play better. And I think that's going to be their focus.
I think you're right, partner. Well, Dave, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Did I see you post something from Yankee Stadium? Did I see?
Yeah. I went to the Yankee Stadium.
Nice.
We were there for the Rangers game last week, and so the night before we went to Yankee Stadium. Why not? Right? So,
are you a baseball fan? Are you watching what the Rays are doing? 9-0? Are you kidding me?
Oh, I was almost going to wear my Jays hat, but I figured that'll be a bad play here. But they got a good win yesterday too, by the way.
They did.
They haven't even played their home opener yet. So, yes, I definitely watched the Rays. I watched Dwayne and Brian and the whole Valley crew there.
Great.
And it's very impressive. And I'm not one who says, it doesn't matter. They're playing a bunch of, bad teams. No, they're winning and they're balling and they're fun to watch. And I think this is going to be a fun season to watch. And I watch them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Dave, thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you, buddy.
All right, boys. Thanks a lot for having me on. See you.
Thanks, Dave.
It's just this is such an exciting time of year, man. I'm so the Rays are playing well, and we got to get to some Bucks talk here in a second as well. But it's Lightning time, it's playoff time, and I just my gut feeling tells me they got it right. And Dave's right. It's about the players. It's about the players, and they're like, okay, we know what we need to tighten this up. Let's see if we can play some good defensive hockey. And they did it for 5-6 games. And like, all right, we're good. We're in the playoffs.
It's to me, it's good. It's gotten to a point where I don't know how many more messages that Cooper can send out into the public like he has this year. Like it's at the point where it really is on the players at this stage, and it's why it's been so hard to kind of evaluate them this season because of what I've seen the past 3 years, and I know what they do when they get there.
Yeah.
And no Matt Murray for Toronto. Samsonov's not playoff proven, or obviously the young kid Ball. I mean, it's Vasilevsky. It's like every playoff series this guy gets into, he just transforms himself into like the greatest goalie that's like ever lived.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to continue to like hold out hope that I'm going to see that.
Yeah.
And that's why, even though maybe he hasn't had the year that we're used to this season, it almost doesn't matter to me necessarily.
When you really think about it, this season is what you should have expected from the Lightning. We're going to get to where we need to be, right? Don't worry about it, coach. There's almost like this. It's almost like, Coop's the dad and the kids are like, Dad, we got this. All right. We showed you that we got it for 4 or 5 games there. Well, now just give us a minute. It's just going to take a little bit of a mental break here. We can't get any better in our seating. So just give us a little moment here. We know what we got to do. They flip the switch when they get to the playoffs. And but you know what? Until that doesn't happen, we have to expect that it will. We've seen this for 4 years now. When their backs are against the wall, they play their best hockey. The only time they haven't done it is when they didn't have Braden Point in the finals against a really good Colorado team. Okay, so that's the only time you haven't been able to flip the switch and win it. I got to believe with the complement of players, and I know that's no McDonough, no Jan Ruda, no Palat. I get all that. But the core is there. And as you mentioned, Vasilevsky is there. Huge advantage in goaltending in the playoffs to the Lightning. Okay? Simple as that. I just can't bet against them until they show me they can't do it in this situation.
I want to see it too. Also, how they. I mean, last year they had to go on the road in Toronto and win and play 4 games in Toronto and get out of there, right? Especially in Game 7. This year, it's been very unlike the Lightning. 18, 22, and 1 on the road for them. Like that's been a point of emphasis all year, and that's just something we just haven't seen. So it's like, again, what is it? Why is this team struggling to play on the road?
I think it's because they're emotionally and mentally tired over the last cumulatively over these last 3 years. It's been a grind, and at some point you got to rest your mind and your body. And in the National Hockey League, as in most professional sports, but I think especially in the NHL, you take that much off the gas pedal, just a little bit, and that edge is the difference when every other team wants to beat your ass because you're the Tampa Bay Lightning and you've embarrassed them for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, especially in division. They're at home. And that's like, here come the Lightning. You're going to get their best every time. And if you don't answer that emotional intensity, you're going to lose.
Yeah, and this is the conversation. It kind of is like the conversation we've had with the Rays. It's like these teams are all NHL teams, just like in baseball. They're all MLB teams. You have to take them serious. I mean, a good example, you look over like in the Western Conference, there's a playoff push going. And it's like last week, I listened to a lot of Sirius XM radio, and they're having a meltdown. Like, what's Calgary doing? They lose a game to Chicago. They're in a playoff hunt in the wild card, and they just completely lose at home to Chicago. That's what happens. I mean, Winnipeg's had a complete collapse, and now they're having to play for their lives now here with 3 games left. I mean, it's going on across the league that if you try to just skate your way into a game, you're just not going to win. Yeah. And any team can beat you. I mean, Ottawa put 7 on you the other night. I mean, did anybody expect that? They've done that twice this year. Ottawa's put 7 on the Lightning.
Yeah, but those games don't matter.
They don't matter in the grand scheme, but
they don't matter in the grand scheme. And you get, and the Lightning are emotionally mature enough to not let it affect them. You think that 7-goal game is going to affect them into the playoffs? Hell no. You think this 3-game stretch is going to affect them whatsoever when it comes to when that puck drops in Toronto? Hell no.
Get it out of the way now, I guess.
No, it's like, Dad, we got this. All right, just chill, Coop. We got this. We'll be fine, which is interesting. It's going to be interesting. I almost feel like the Lightning tomorrow are not going to be like, it's regular season. Toronto, you want to come down here and prove something, go in and wax us and go into the playoffs and be all your chest puffed out. It's almost like they want to lay a trap. The Lightning goes, oh, yeah, we got beat 5-1 against Toronto on Tuesday night. Boy, it's going to be tough for us in the playoffs.
The only thing I will say is at some point, and Toronto is as talented as a team there is in the league. Yeah. They had 7 new guys at the deadline, obviously O'Reilly being the big one. At some point, it's like you feel like, right, they're gonna break through that wall. It has to at some point.
At some point.
And it's like, it almost feels like this is a do or die year for them. I mean, Matthews and Marner and Nylander's going to be there forever, right? That's their core. But it's like at some point, how many times can you keep going to the dance before you just kind of have to break things up a little bit? I don't know how many shots Toronto's going to take at it going forward. I think this is almost like it could be a make or break year for them.
Which, as like Dave said, ramps up the pressure.
Exactly.
It ramps up it even more. If you think this is the last chance you got, it's going to be, they're squeezing that stick even harder. That's why, as much as I'd like to hype up tomorrow night's game, it still doesn't mean squat. It doesn't mean squat. And if the Leafs want to come in here and get a big win and puff up their chest, it's almost like, okay, good, get your false confidence going. So it's kind of a tough spot for Coop. You kind of want to just give them would you like to see the Lightning go out there and say, you know what, we're going to beat we're going to give you a taste of how we're going to play in the playoffs and crush their soul?
Well, I can hang my hat on the four game stretch they had about 2 weeks ago.
That's what I'm hanging my hat on.
Especially because they played some teams, especially like a New York team that was desperate, that's in a playoff push, and they were able to shut them out.
Really good Devils team.
Right? Maybe that was their okay, let's go. We can go play this.
And when
show you we
they
can
lost
still do
to
it.
Boston, they played really well.
They played really well against
defensively.
Boston.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're trying to be optimistic, right, and not have much concern,
that's where I'm at.
That's kind of where you can be at. As they have that 4 game stretch, you can kind of hang on a little bit.
Yeah, and then once they clinched it, it's like we're mature.
And Coop admitted that. That's what they've done.
Yeah, of course. And so I don't know if there's anything that needs to be done or any message that needs to be sent. It is what it is. It as much as we'd like to say it different, it's a meaningless game. It's a meaningless game. And maybe it's not the Coop. Maybe it's not the players. Maybe he's got something. He's a hell of a lot smarter than me. Maybe he's got something that he wants to see before they step into it. But I don't think you can manufacture it. The players know. It's a meaningless game. The only thing that matters is the playoffs. So we'll see how they treat it. All right, we'll take another quick break. Chris Lugo is going to join us at 11:45. We'll chat with him about staying fit and active into your 50s, 60s, and 70s, which is kind of topical for us. So we'll talk about that. And when we come back, we're going to talk some Bucks. The NBA being a mess. I just want to get to that. Hendon Hooker. We got some other stuff we got to get to. So quick break, back in 3. Stay with us. Insurance coverage can be confusing and expensive. I mean, where do you start? Which companies can you count on to pay out fast and fair? Well, call the great folks at Italiano Insurance. It's a family-owned business. Jeff and Nat Italiano are carrying on the 60-year-plus tradition of giving amazing customer service and giving back to the community through their annual backpack drive for needy students and their support of the local pediatric cancer patients. But it's the customer service that sets them apart. They can shop all your insurance needs and save you big-time money. Don't hop on the internet and waste time looking at some bogus reviews. Talk to knowledgeable agents and not some voice-generated robot. These are confusing times for homeowners, and Italiano's team of experienced professionals can provide the right coverage for every situation. Home, auto, business, life. It's Italiano for all the pieces of your life. Call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to JeevesLawGroup.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo will join us in just a bit. Talk about staying fit into your 50s, 60s, and 70s. Staying active, what are the keys? Since I just got back from crushing Peak 8 in Breckenridge at a beautiful Colorado ski resort. If you've not been there, it's absolutely phenomenal. I love going out there. So we'll chat with him about that. And also, we're brought to you by Italiano Insurance. Great folks over there just gave another big check to pediatric cancer to help eradicate that and get some great research going there. They've done that every year after year after year. It's a big one of their causes here locally that they give to the Moffitt Cancer Center. So we say keep it local to those companies that are so good to us here locally and do so much in the community. All right, so the NBA heading into the play-in. Boy, so exciting. In a weekend of controversy, the Dallas Mavericks basically capitulate and say, we're not going to play our starters. We don't even care about getting into the playoffs or even into the play-in game. With Kyrie and Luka, two of the biggest stars in the game, we're not even going to play them to get into the playoffs. How is that even a thing?
They're worried about that top 10 pick. They don't want to lose that top 10 pick status. So,
is that the right thing to do?
No, and the NBA is investigating them, which I think they'll come to the. I mean, they put it out there.
They put it out there.
Put it out there. I mean,
what's Cuban doing? Like, at least fake it. Say the guys are injured or something.
I don't know, man. And I know Luka said that he kept it very short. He said he didn't like it, and I'll leave it there about them doing all that. And I mean, he's a free agent in 2024. I have to think the Mavericks. You'd think they'd be doing everything they can to try to, and they've tried to help that guy clearly by getting Kyrie. They kind of got hurt, both of them at the same time, and that didn't help because after those two, they don't really have much of a roster to go off of.
You got nothing left.
But even when they got both of them back, they weren't winning games.
Yeah,
it's just they play the same position. They both need the ball in their hands at all times. It's just a bad fit.
It's a bad fit.
I actually don't buy the narrative that Kyrie Irving, this is his fault. Because if you look at the way Kyrie's been playing, he's been fantastic. I think he's been like a plus 60 when he's been out there too. Kyrie, and with Luka interesting out there, they've been in the negative. So, I mean, do we need to have a conversation about Luka Doncic at some point about this? I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're a star, like there's no excuse still not to get into the playoffs, especially when you were the 4 seed 2 months ago in the Western Conference. And also if you're Luka, you didn't like it. You mean to tell me that Luka Doncic's voice doesn't have any weight?
Of course it does.
You don't think he could have told Jason Kidd and Mark Cuban, no, F that. We're playing.
Yeah.
I'm playing this game. You're not going to play me for 1 quarter and then take me out. I'm surprised that he would even go along with that.
And, like, what about the fans? What are we doing?
It's a big FU.
It's unbelievable.
It's a big FU.
mean, what if you're sitting there and you just bought 2 tickets, and you had some good seats and paid $200 for them to sit down low or more, and this is the crap you get? I'm telling you, if that were me as a consumer, I would go right to the box office and go, refund these tickets.
I didn't come here to see Tim Hardaway and
that's
Maxi Kleber.
That is such a FU to the fans. It's not, and it's like that's not even talked about. Like it's not. Nobody's even like. I read an article about it, and there was not one mention about the fans. It was all about should they do this? Should they? Was it? I'm like, what about the fans who paid good money to see this? And you do that load management stuff all the freaking time.
It's more not just the fans in attendance. It's just the fact that all season long they pump money into that team. They get all excited. You give them Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, and then at the end, when you still have a slim chance to make it, I'm not going to act like they win that game and they get in. But you have a slim chance. You think you would exhaust every effort.
Didn't they go to the
get in
last year?
They went to the Western Finals, yeah. And they took this much of a step back to the point that a team that's literally throwing haymakers at each other during a game is going to be in the play-in, and you're not.
Which leads us to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rudy Gobert and and Anderson,
Kyle Anderson,
literally trading punches. And what's worse, what led to the punches, they're in a huddle where their coach is trying to bring them together in what's a pretty important game. And they're yelling, one guy, they're yelling, Gobert's, why don't you grab an effing rebound? And the guy said, why don't you block an effing shot? Like they're arguing at each other as the coach is trying to dial up some stuff.
Yeah.
What a disaster.
And he gets sent home, Gobert.
Right.
And you'd have to think logically there'd be a suspension, but the problem, they're in the play-in.
Yeah.
Like I think they won yesterday, so they're 42-40 to end
they're
the
in the 8th
season.
seed. They're going to play, and Jaden McDaniels punches the wall and breaks his right hand. And he's he's the LeBron shutdown guy. LeBron can't score against the guy, and you're going to go into a play-in game, and you've just lost your best defender, your LeBron defender.
I mean,
wow.
I mean the Timberwolves. Let's be honest, dysfunction junction the entire time they've been a franchise.
Yeah.
So it's only fitting this happens. Gobert had problems getting along with Donovan Mitchell. I feel like they had beef. I mean, that's the reason why Donovan Mitchell's not there in Utah anymore. He got away from Gobert.
Yeah.
And then Gobert gets traded, signs this massive contract. His play takes a step back. Now he's punching players. Dysfunction.
And this just in, the Warriors are in the 6th seed, and they're getting Wiggins back, and basically you're going to have their whole team intact from last year finally.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against that team.
Yeah,
but then again, the Suns are undefeated when KD plays. That was like a battle.
I want to see that series. I want to see Suns, Warriors.
The Warriors, Clippers, and Lakers had me dying the last couple weeks. They're like playing not to get the 5 seed, so they didn't have to play the Suns.
Right now.
And the Clippers are going to get it now. So KD versus the Suns and the
Warriors
Clippers.
get the bus to Sacramento. Play the Kings that nobody believes.
Isn't it funny? I feel like one of the 4 teams is going to come out of the West. It's going to be the 4 seed through the 7. It's going to be one of those teams from the 4 seed to the 7.
I don't believe in Denver.
Nobody buying the
Sacramento.
top 3.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Nobody's buying that top 3, man.
They did that to Phoenix a couple years ago when Phoenix went to the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, you better watch it.
The problem with Denver is like I love Jokic and I love their roster, but like I don't count on a center to lead me to the NBA finals anymore.
He's not really a center though.
I know, but
so much more.
You know what I mean though.
I do,
like he's not slashing to the net. Like
I know.
He's not going to take over a game, I don't think.
He just makes everybody so much better. But we'll see. It's going to be a little. I will say it's going to be a little interesting.
It's intriguing.
It's intriguing. And the East is going to be intriguing as well.
I think the East is a 2-dog race.
But Boston and Milwaukee.
I think it's Boston and Milwaukee. Philly to me, it's
hard.
It's hard for me to buy into James Harden in a big moment.
No.
It's hard for me to get there. And outside of that, I think Cleveland to me feels too early. I don't buy any other team in the East.
Yeah, and who knows what the Celtics are going to show up as?
That's a little Jekyll and Hyde at times.
Yeah. Big signing in the NFL. Odell Beckham Jr. goes to the Ravens for $15 million guaranteed, up to $18 million. Coming off his second ACL, a player that's completely dependent on his change of direction and speed. And you're going to pay him $15 million guaranteed to come to. And how does that affect your salary cap in order to offer Lamar Jackson as much money as you possibly can to get him back? This seems like a completely bizarre move to me.
Well, the cap hit's going to be minimal because the signing bonus was $14 million. Of that the 15. Yeah, so the signing the salary cap hit's going to actually be pretty minimal.
No,
so
not if it's a 1-year guaranteed deal. You can't.
But $14 million was converted into a signing bonus.
Oh, so they're it's not a 1-year deal then. They're devoidable years in the contract.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, well then I thought that the article I read was 1-year deal, $15 million guaranteed. Normally, if you're doing where you're voiding it out, you're saying it's a 4-year deal for with $15 million guaranteed.
I don't know. I just read the particulars from Pelissaro and it had $14 million signing bonus.
All right, so. But still, I mean, this tells me that, and then he and Lamar were FaceTiming.
I think that's the most important thing that you saw yesterday after the signing.
How is Lamar not going to play this year? Come on. You've got to prove yourself.
You'd forfeit a lot of money if you
take the 160, 170 guaranteed that they're offering you and go play, man. I'm so tired of talking about his contract. You got to go play, man.
Well, does this help? This has to help, though. I mean, the guy hasn't played with exactly the most elite group of receivers. I mean, their leading receiver last year, take Mark Andrews out of it, was DeMarcus Robinson.
Yeah, but also, to my point, if you're asking Odell Beckham to be a 1 now he played when he was playing
really
with the
Rams.
Yeah, look who he was playing with, Cooper Kupp, and who else was the other guy? They had a lot of good
Jefferson,
options.
Robert Woods.
Yeah, they had a lot of good options.
But also, too, Odell's last 1,000-yard season was with Cleveland in 2019, and who was the OC? Todd Monken.
Okay,
who's
but
the Ravens OC? Todd Monken.
So Odell Beckham, who's small, who's completely dependent on change of direction and a flat-out speed, coming off his second ACL as a number one who's going to get double coverage all the time with a quarterback who's not the most accurate in the short spaces.
Well, it's not just Odell.
Call me not impressed.
If you can get a healthy Rashad Bateman in the mix there, you still have Mark Andrews. I mean, you still have some pieces there. They can probably draft a guy if they wanted to.
They better.
I think the thing, too, that helps the Odell out is there was a report today from Jim Nagy, the guy that runs the Senior Bowl, that the NFL is not as high on this draft for receivers as the media is, and they only feel that there's one first-round guy, which is Smith and Jigba. So maybe the Ravens said, okay, we don't buy into any of these guys to be instant game changers. We need a proven guy in here. By the way, we need a guy that could probably help us get Lamar back maybe. And I think OBJ has swing there. I mean, they were clearly already on FaceTime.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what went into this signing as well.
That's a good point. I still think it's way too much to pay him, especially coming off that. And by the way, Hendon Hooker, as we thought in January, rocketing up draft boards. And now I don't even know if he's going to be there at 19 for the Bucs to select. Everybody's, you can get him in the second or third round. I'm like, no, that's never happening. He's got an ACL injury. He won't be ready for camp. Nobody cares. He'll be ready.
Yeah, because everybody's figured out, actually, this guy has really good tape. Like they maxed out all the tape on the top four guys, and they said, okay, now let's go sit down and watch Hendon Hooker. Oh, he actually makes really good NFL throws.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, but he's got an ACL. Yeah, that heals. He didn't have it amputated. Folks.
By the way, I don't need you to play year one.
Right. If you're the Bucs,
if he was a Buck, I don't need you to play year one.
When I heard that, I was like, keep talking that way, but it's not going to last.
And by the way, Stroud wrote the article about could the Bucs take Hendon Hooker. He's coming this week on a visit. I mean, this is not just two guys sitting here talking about Hendon Hooker to the Bucs because it's like we're not living in fantasy land.
No,
the Bucs clearly have interest in this guy,
and they should. They don't,
and
have
they would
a
be foolish not to.
Back.
And as we said, the moves they made last week and throughout the offseason to kind of plug up some holes with some younger guys who can play and more productive than the guys they had in there last year. It gives you the freedom to make that move if you want to.
Exactly, which is exactly why they did it.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean they're 100% going quarterback. They have the freedom to do it if they want to.
Yeah, if one of those guys, if Levis or Hooker falls to 19, you pull the trigger, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not buying on Mayo Boy. Not happening.
You don't like him.
Mayo Boy is not on my board.
Puts mayo in his coffee. You don't like him?
Mayo in the coffee, man. Not on my board.
All right, quick break. When we come back, Chris Lugo is going to join us from Bay Area Modern Medical Center. So all you old guys like me, you want to snow ski into your 50s, play golf into your 70s, do all those good things and stay active? Well, Chris Lugo will have all the answers for you next on how to do that. I think you'd be interested. Stay with us. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. Have you been injured in an accident, in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, at work, or at a place of business? Well, call the Jeeves Law Group and get the personal attention that you deserve. I made the mistake many, many years ago with going with one of the bigger law firms, the national law firms. And let me tell you, getting a call back from those folks was next to impossible. Weeks and weeks would go by, never get a call back. That doesn't happen with the Jeeves Law Group. Personal attention is what they're all about. When you call the Jeeves Law Group, you will be part of the family. They will represent you in a vigorous and aggressive way against the insurance companies. These larger companies will promise bigger settlements, but it's the Jeeves Law Group that will get you the best results. If you're tired of dealing with these bigger law firms, check out the Jeeves Law Group. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com, tell them JP sent you, get a free consultation. It's the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves has been representing clients in the Tampa Bay area for over 25 years. Give them a call. It's a free call, 727-894-2929, 727-894-2929, or go to jeeveslawgroup.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Our medical director, Chris Lugo, joins us right now. We get right into it. You were asking me about my bracelet right here. This is an Amazon Halo bracelet.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah, so what is measured is managed. That Chris Lugo quote, did I get it right?
I love it.
So I've been wearing it more to measure and manage. And it gives you your activity score as well. So when I was interested to see how many calories I burned out on the slopes, because we ski probably in 4 or 5 hours stretches, which is significant. And I was surprised. I burned like over 3,500 calories a day snow skiing. So because we got after it a little bit, not too hard, not to I didn't want to go crazy and fall and hurt myself. I took one fall, not too bad, but it definitely helps me, and it definitely encourages me to go to sleep more, to do the right things so I get a better measurement.
Good. How was your heart rate out west?
It was good. I wasn't checking it too often, but what we did is we took the oxygen cans. And I told my buddies, they'd never really used them. I said, I'm the last 4 or 5 times I went out there, I've been religious about this because I take, about 5 or 6 hits an hour of the oxygen. I think it makes all the difference in the world. And
for us who don't live at elevation, tremendous difference.
Yeah. And there are some other tricks of the trade I've learned. Cialis, you take a Cialis while you're out there, it oxygenates the blood, which works. Which works. So
it's actually treatment. Yeah.
What do you have any? I know season's pretty much over, but what would you tell people if they're going to go snow skiing? And I did some leg work before, like 3 weeks before I started doing more leg work. My legs felt really good out there. What would be your advice for folks that are going to go skiing, especially coming up from sea level?
Yes. So it's interesting if you look at the fact that Florida's got a tremendous amount of skiers, but the vast majority of us go out for 3-5 days maximum usually of skiing days.
Mm-hmm.
They may be out there for a week, but they're only skiing roughly 3 to 5 days. Because some people like to do a little après skiing instead, which is fine. But even for those 3 to 5 days, when you're at altitude, less oxygen, you're going to get winded a lot quicker. So yes, you got to prep. I would say at least 10 to 8 weeks prior to going out, which means do more running, do more squats, get those thighs up and running, no matter if you're just doing skiing or snowboarding. And if you're not doing anything, it probably wouldn't be a bad thing. Just walking around and going up and down stairs, you're going to get winded really easy. It's going to help you out. It's going to make you enjoy those 3 to 5 days of skiing much more. And you're going to stay on the slopes longer and get more money for those tickets. Back in the day, those tickets were $30. Not anymore. They're almost reaching $200 a day, which is insane.
200 a day. Yeah, get that Epic Pass. It's much cheaper if you're going out west even for 4 days. It'll pay for itself. Are there any? I know there's some things on the market. There's medications on the market, and I mentioned Cialis. Are there other things you could take while you're out there or before going out there that help you with the altitude?
Yeah, if you know you're one of those people who gets altitude sickness, Diamox is one. I love Cialis, or I call it vitamin C.
Yep.
Taking Cialis, and it doesn't matter if you're male or female, it's still going to help you out just for that vasodilation, getting those arteries opened up to make it easier to oxygenate. That's going to be the big thing. Any little extra edge you can have, you're going to see it. And for those who are on little TRT, HRT, whatever you want to call it, your hemoglobin are already probably rising if you're doing the injectables, which is probably not a bad thing. That's how all the Tour de France guys do. That's the blood doping.
Yep.
So running a little high on your hemoglobin is going to help with that oxygen carrying capability too.
Yep. I felt great while I was out there. And Nick, do you have any questions for the doctor?
Oh, I'll come with a good report, Chris. I've been on what I'm going to call for this show a Chris Lugo heater.
Ooh.
This week.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
Let me explain. I've gone sports activities not once but twice this week. Okay, that's number one. Wow,
Nice.
right? Big. Last night in bed by 10 o'clock. The night before, me and Casey went to Sprouts, and we bought all our groceries from there. And we also we got the kombucha drinks, and we haven't tried them yet, but we bought one each so we could test it. Right?
Okay.
Didn't go all in on it, but we bought all this like nice veggies. My air fryer that sits on my at home, I put it in the cabinet so I don't even look at it. Get it out of my sight, so I'm not in that concept to just go straight to the air fryer with stuff. And I feel great.
Good.
I feel great. And this morning, especially, I went to bed and I woke up at 6 this morning and it felt natural to me. It's amazing. So, by the way, this stuff works.
See, I mean, it's
and I told Casey about you because she's been talking a lot about this, and now she wants to come see you and do a consultation.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So I teased, being active into your 50s, 60s, and 70s. What is it? Because I'm 59 years old, and I felt really good out there, and I felt good about my skiing. I was actually surprised myself that I skied that well, and a couple of my buddies that I went with are maybe not as active as I am or have been, and they're both like, "Man, I got to get in shape. I got to get back in shape." So what are some of the keys to staying active deep into those? Because I want to be playing golf when I'm 80. That's my goal.
We've talked about them before, and it's the big thing. It's weight training, especially the older we're getting. You've got to weight train. You got to keep that lean muscle mass on. I get patients in here all the time, clients in here all the time. And, I'm not that – I'm Western medicine trained, but I'm that guy who's switched over a little bit towards that Eastern, and I love that preventative health. And one of the first questions that comes out of my mouth after I let them talk is, hey, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? I want to be a kick-ass 75-year-old. And in order to be a kick-ass 75-year-old, you got to be a kick-ass 50-year-old.
Yeah.
I can pump out 70, 80 push-ups right now. Not bad for a 50-year-old guy.
Wow, yeah.
The Army makes me do that, though. But when I'm 75, I want to be able to do 25 push-ups. I want to go a flight upstairs with a bag of groceries in each hand. I want to get off the ground with nobody helping me. Think of those goals now. In order to achieve them, you've got to get that ball rolling. Because if you don't get the ball rolling now, you're not going to come to me at 65 years old. Hey, I want to be a kick-ass 7-year-old, and I'm working 50 hours a week. That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't trade wealth for health is the big thing I'm telling you. Look at Elon Musk versus Jeff Bezos. Both have a big dichotomy on where they're going with their money and time.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff is spending a lot more time on his health. Elon, not so much.
Yeah.
He wants to conquer Mars. But to be a kick-ass 70-year-old, you got to be a kick-ass 50-year-old. You got to start getting after it now. You've got to weight train, protein, and keep your mind sharp too. That's going to be the key aspect. Don't trade wealth for health.
And also, to me, a lot of my friends have been getting joint replacements, knees, hips, shoulders, all this stuff. And I'm saying to myself, I want to avoid that drastically, which is why, I want to lean up and lose about 20 pounds. How do you avoid those injuries and that stuff?
You just said it, keeping lean. So look, we talked about the Masters. Brooks has bad knees. He's admitted to having bad knees. Yeah. To me, he looked a little heavier than what he should have been. He should have slimmed down a lot to take that extra pressure off those knees. I'm not sure why his game fell apart on Sunday, but
he's a live golfer. That's why.
Yeah, he fell apart on Sunday, and John Rahm just put the medal down and accelerated through it. But keeping leaner, keeping that lean muscle mass on, getting slim. Look at Phil. Phil was pretty lean too. Not bad for an old guy, right?
Yeah.
But one guy's gained a little weight. One guy's lost some weight. Phil's always been notorious for being heavier. So staying lean is going to be a big thing. Keeping lean muscle mass is going to be a big thing too. You don't want to get anorexic. If I was a betting guy, I'd say that maybe Phil's using a little semaglutide to lose some weight. His face looked a little drawn in a little bit, but look, this guy makes millions of dollars a year. I'm sure he's surrounded himself with a great staff that's helping him out with this. Okay, enough said.
Any medications that work good for your joints, joint health, that keep them loose and pain free?
Yeah, you got some over-the-counter stuff that we've always been talking about, the costochondroitins and all those. My big one, though, is going to be the fish oil, fish oil, fish oil. But poison's in the dose. A lot of people are taking 1 to 2 capsules of fish oil a day. Not enough. Either one, they're not taking a great quality supplement, and the one that I use, we talked about before, is Thorne. I use their Super EPA Pro version. But then you got to take enough of it. And that's why I tell patients 8 to 10 grams a day. That's 8 to 10 capsules a day. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But to keep that inflammation down, you got to take a lot. It's going to help your lipid profile. It's going to help your inflammation as we're getting older and all the arthritis that builds up, the wear and tear.
Great information. And tell the folks how they can get in touch with you if they want to get in shape and be active into their 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Best way to do it is go to the website, BAMMC.com. Book an appointment right there online. You can look at what the times are available, what appointment you want to book is available there. I got Armadillo next week, so I'll be out gone for a couple days next week. Or call the office, 844-789-2266. And like I said, think about your goals of what you want to achieve. Everyone contributes to the 401k. Who's contributing to the 401h? Health.
Yep.
Not many people are. Okay, but think about that, because you don't want to be going to cardiologist, endocrinologist, pulmonologist when you retire. You want to travel. You want to enjoy life. And all that money you just saved up is going to be for nothing.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, Chris, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
We'll talk to you down the road. Thanks.
Have a great one. Take care.
Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. All right, well, that was a fun show. Thanks to Dave Randolph, to Chris Lugo, and thanks to you for doing such a great job while I was away. Now I'm going to take more vacations. And thanks you guys for checking it. I know we didn't get to your comments today, guys, because we were slammed up against it. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll get to you tomorrow. I promise that. And tomorrow on the show, Matt Joyce will join us from Bally's to talk some Rays. And Bob Herrick, who was just at the Masters, will join us as well. So we'll do some more Masters talk tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.